Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I'm going to be giving you my SpookAthon TBR. So the Halloween season is upon us and it's time to talk all things spooky. So SpookAthon is from the 15th to the 21st of October, and as the name suggests, it's focusing on all things spooky. This readathon has been going on for about 3 years and the host that I know is Books and Lala, and I will link her announcement video down below, but I know that there are at least 2 other hosts, maybe even 3 this year, whose videos I have not seen. Although I do keep meaning to, I do want to find out about the hosts. It also has a Twitter, which I've linked down below, your standard readathon stuff, and there are some challenges. So I just wanted to share with you today my TBR and how they're going to link up with the challenges. So there are 5 challenges in total for the SpookAthon readathon, and I have a lovely little, don't know how well you can see that, here you go, bullet journal spread to show you for them. So I decided to make a little bullet journal spread for this one. So we're going to use that, just kind of go down. I've got 2 books for each challenge. I'm not expecting to get to all of them, obviously. I just like to give myself options. So I have 10 books in total for this, but my goal is normally on a readathon to try and get all the challenges, and I think 5 books in a week is a good number. So that is my current goal. Having said that, some of these books are a bit long, so we might be being ambitious. So challenge number 1, which always features in this particular readathon, is read a thriller. Books and Lala absolutely adores the thriller genre. It tends to feature every single year. So I've got 2 options, like I said, for this one. Both are by Stephen King. So option number 1 is Mr. Mercedes, which was on my Thrillerathon TBR back in August. This is the story of a detective and a serial killer called Mr. Mercedes, called that because he runs people over in his Mercedes. And it's a kind of cat and mouse situation where Mr. Mercedes is taunting the detective about the fact that he can't find him. This is actually part of a trilogy, and I've heard good things about it, and it has now been on my shelf for a few months, so I am keen to try and get to it. The other thriller I might try and get to is Sleeping Beauties, Stephen King and Owen King. So Owen King is one of Stephen King's sons, who I've not read anything of. I've read a lot by Joe Hill, one of his other children, who is going to feature on this TBR and who I've read pretty much all of his work from. But I've not read Owen King, and I'm quite excited to see what the impact of Stephen King and one of his sons together is. Now, I've got a bit of a weird relationship with Stephen King. I've not read a crazy amount, but the stuff that I have read, I have, of the 3, I've loved one, hated one, and been very ambivalent to one, which means I don't really know where I stand yet with King. So I'm hoping that this one with his son will give me a bit more of an idea of whether it's his children that I really like or whether it is King himself. In this book, all the women of the world start to fall into comas and then start to become almost cocooned, and weird stuff ensues from there. That's the only real thing I know about it. From what I've seen online and some reviews, it's a kind of classic King situation where it starts off really strong and then doesn't seem to go anywhere. King's endings seem to be his weakest point, and that is my issue that I've had with him in the past. So I am a bit skeptical about this one. It's also huge, so I may not get to it this week, just thinking about sheer numbers, but the cover's gorgeous and I am kind of keen to see what he can do with another writer by his side. The next prompt is read something with purple on the cover. One option is yet another Stephen King, but Stephen King writing is Richard Bachman. So this is the Bachman books, but I'm specifically going to be trying to read The Long Walk. This has got 3 books in it: The Long Walk, Roadwork and The Running Man. I've read The Running Man, no interest in Roadwork. The Long Run is the one that I'm keen on. So The Long Run tells the story of just a collection of 100 boys who, it's like a reality TV show. They make them start to walk and they have to keep going until the last man standing. I've heard fairly good things about The Long Walk, and because it was Bachman rather than King that I enjoyed last time, I'm keen to see what else he does as Bachman, to see whether that's the style of his writing that I enjoy, and whether it's when he's like conventional King that's when I take issue with his work. So it is purple, the lighting here isn't brilliant, and I do really like these covers. I know that this particular cover range, they've done the entire Stephen King collection, and I much prefer them to all the other ones. So I might vaguely try and collect more like this in the future. The other book that has purple on the cover is Toil and Trouble. Now this is the buddy read for SpookAthon. So I get the feeling that every year they pick a book, and the idea is that if you want to, you can read along with them, and this is the book for this year. This is a collection of short stories of women and witchcraft, and as far as I'm aware, it's mainly YA, but don't quote me on that. I don't recognise any of the authors on the back, I don't think. Nope, none of them are ringing a bell. but it's all focused on women and witchcraft and teenagers and all that kind of thing. I am trying to read more short stories just in general as a format, and I thought it'd be really interesting to explore a YA option, as it's not a genre that I tend to go anywhere near. Then we have read a book that is set in a different time period. Now I actually have 3 different books for this one. On my autumn TBR, which I want to get to, is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Short Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's a classic. We all know Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It is the classic that I'm trying to get to this sort of autumn period. It is another collection of short stories, and I'm now racking up quite a few, so I think I'll probably end up picking one short story collection and doing that, and this may be the one. It's fairly short. I think there's only about 4 or 5 short stories in here. Let's find out. There are 6 short stories in here, so I'm more inclined to go for this one than the 15 that is in Toil and Trouble. And also on my autumn TBR is The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is book 2 of her Winter Night trilogy, which is based in Russia in the medieval times. It's Russian folklore. Book 1 was amazing, and I'm really keen for book 2, but like I said in my autumn TBR, I really want to just be able to sit and binge this all in one day and like not have any interruptions, because it's such an immersive world, and it really has that sort of cozy curl up in front of the fire, not that I have a fire, so maybe the radiator, and have like just like hot apple and not move and be in your slippers constantly, and that doesn't really fit with the week of SpookAthon for me, so I might end up holding off and doing this one either before or afterwards, depending on what my schedule is like. And then the final one for that prompt is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I have in ebook format, which I'm quite tempted by, just because it sounds cool, and definitely set in another time period as well. Another classic that I've been meaning to get to for a while. I'd love to pick up a hard copy, but I don't see that happening between now and the start, so I'll just read it on my e-reader if I end up getting around to that one. The next prompt is a spooky word in the title, and again, got 2 for you. One option I have is I am right behind you. Now each word individually, not spooky, however the whole statement, hopefully, scary enough that it counts. I am being a bit loose with this particular challenge, but it's about being roughly in the spirit of things. This is the same author who wrote Let the Right One In, which has been made into 2 absolutely terrifying horror movies that I'm not going to go anywhere near. This one is about 4 families that get sort of whisked away to this kind of strange void, and then I think it's kind of a psychological thriller where they end up pitting themselves against each other and creepy things happen. My brother actually picked this one out for me from when we last went to Waterstone together, and it just looks really cool, and it's the kind of book that I don't think I'm going to get to unless it was for something like a spooky readathon, so I'm keen for this one in particular. And also on my autumn TBR is Joe Hill's Strange Weather. This is 4 short stories where weather is the main protagonist. The word I'm going for here is strange. Don't know if that counts as spooky enough, but I'm going for it. So I don't really know much about this one. This is Joe Hill's 2nd short story collection. He also has one called 20th Century Ghosts, which I was tempted to pick up for this, but I've decided I can't be bothered and I've got one here, so I should probably just read the book that I have. Like, stop buying books, Emma. So this is now the 3rd short story collection I think I have on this TBR, which means I'm probably not going to get to it, I'm not going to lie, but I want to have options in there. And again, I'm reading so much King. I love Joe Hill. This is one of the few Joe Hill books I've not read. I really want to just tick off the few in his back catalogue. It's not a discography because he's not an artist. You know what I mean, like his previous works, and I really want to say that I've read pretty much everything that he's done, so this is one of the few that I need to get to. He's hidden my spider. My poor Terence the tarantula is now hidden by Joe Hill. I don't know whether you saw back there, Terence only has 6 legs now because my partner Andy accidentally bumped into him and made the case fall over, and so his legs fell off. So he's technically an insect now. The final prompt is a book with pictures, and I've got 2 different graphic novels that I might get to, and to be honest with these I might get to all of them because graphic novels don't take very long to read. I do also have one other book that I might be keen for this one that I picked up recently. A Wild Swan by Michael Cunningham. This is a collection of short stories which are mainly fairy tale retellings, but what I didn't realise when I bought it was it does indeed have pictures. See, there's a little monkey there. There's a harp thing going on there. There's a thingamabobby here. They're very cool pictures, and I'm very tempted by this, and it is quite short, but this makes it now short story anthology number 4 on this TBR, which is starting to get faintly ridiculous. So this might end up being my one for pictures, but I might postpone it for a week just because the graphic novels are at least a different format, and it's kind of changing up what I'm reading for the week so I don't get bored, and just that might just be too many short stories in one go for like a format that I really don't know much about. That might be going a bit intense in one go. Like, let's not binge the format. I have no room for it. The first graphic novel series that I might be reading is Lock and Key, which is also written by Joe Hill. We're noticing a theme. Me and the King family are just gonna be hanging out hardcore for this entire week. So rude. It is Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez, and I know that second name and I can't work out why off the top of my head. I'll link down below if he's done anything interesting. I'll comment somewhere. Joe Hill has written a lot of graphic novels recently. It's probably the stuff that he does the most now, rather than writing your standard novel format. With all of these graphic novels, I bought volume 1 and 2 because they're so short. I figure it's always nice to have volume 2 ready to go, otherwise it feels a bit like only a little kind of bite size rather than like a decent chunk of the story, so I generally tend to binge them together. So these are these two. Something to do with a family and maybe a murder. I don't really know. The artwork looks very cool, very atmospheric, and I love the covers of these both, and there's definitely a key door world situation happening, so these look really interesting. And then I also have Revival, which is by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton, which are here again, books 1 and 2, volume 1 and 2. This is something to do with the dead come back, but not as zombies. That's a crucial point that I saw in like a review of this. They're not zombies, there's something different about it. Again, like the main thing that drew me was just this cover for volume 1. It's just so striking, like that's awesome. Looks really cool, a little bit brighter, a little bit slightly more stylized. Probably gonna read both of those, as in all 4, the whole collection, because why the heck not? They're graphic novels, they're really quick to read, and I'll blitz through them. So that's it from me. That is my TBR for SpookAthon. Are you doing SpookAthon? I get the feeling it's quite a big readathon, and there's been a bit of buzz and chatter on the old Twitter and all that jazz, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm in like a super spooky mood and I'm so keen. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is I get night terrors, so I sometimes have to be careful with what I expose myself to when it comes to movies and books and TV. So I am really hoping that none of these trigger that. The last book that got to me was Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation, that whole trilogy that he has. I started reading book 1 and no, we had to stop like immediately. So I might just have to abandon some of these books partway through if I do think that they're getting a little bit kind of triggery. It's very difficult for me to tell what is going to set me off, and it's not necessarily what I find spooky in the moment. It's just something that kind of, I can feel it lingering, and that's when I know that we might have some issues. I'm also on holiday at the end of SpookAthon. So SpookAthon finishes on the 21st, and from the 19th to the 22nd I'm in the Peak District on Scout Camp with my partner Andy, which means that Dewey's 24-hour readathon, which I'm also planning on doing, and I'm going to do like a vlog for that, happens when I'm in the Peak District. So I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done there. It's going to go one of 2 ways. Either I'll get to read like loads because I'll just be chilling and I can find a cafe, or like I can sit in the hall that we're staying in and just like really relax, and I'll get these big blocks of time to myself. Or we're going to be out walking constantly and I'm going to get no reading done. Or we'll be at the pub constantly. We do like the pub. So I will be updating you with that vlog as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Have a wonderful week, have an excellently spooky week, and I will see you all next time.